Good evening, everyone. We got overwhelming response from the teachers for this webinar. That's why that was the reason we were waiting for all of them to enter. Still, there are more entries, but we will be starting as we have scheduled our time. We are already 7 minutes behind the time. So I request Ms. Chandrika, the author of our series Artificial Intelligence, to start the session. Hi,
Hello,
Ms.
everyone. Hello, everyone. This is Chandrika this side. Uh, Thank you for joining us. I welcome all of you to this webinar hosted by Good Luck Publishers. I am connecting to you from the beautiful city of Bengaluru. Thank you, Niharika, for introducing me. Give me a moment to start my presentation and then we'll begin. I'll just share my screen and all right. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, am I audible? I hope I'm audible clearly to all. Let's begin with today's agenda. But before I begin, I would like to mention here that I framed this agenda after going through various questions posted by you at the time of registration. So I thank you all, first of all, for helping me structurize this webinar. Thanks for your contribution. I hope that all of you will get your answers satisfactorily during this webinar. And as you can see, this webinar is to explore AI and to socialize about the ways and the methods to teach it. The webinar focuses on three broad areas. That's how I've structured it. First is on what is AI, why we need to teach AI to kids, and how AI helps students. And second is what are the fun aids and resources that are needed to introduce AI to students, because it can be daunting actually to all of us, not just the kids. And third is to explore the structure of an ideal syllabus for AI for the beginners. But before jumping into all these points, let me begin with a short introduction to my academic as well as professional journey. So I did my English literature from Delhi University after schooling. A degree in English literature laid the foundation for doing perhaps the research and writing, because we were supposed to write a lot. However, during my graduation, I got curious about computers. And if you remember at that time, computers were relatively new and sparse machines in households. Very few households had these machines. Mine didn't actually. So I was more and more curious about it. And that is why I decided to pursue an advanced diploma course in software development and post that quality management. Then in more recent years, I did a few online courses on data science and AI, and also pursued entrepreneurial studies from IIM Bangalore. So that's about my qualifications. I will not talk now talk about my professional journey and entrepreneurship. So while pursuing the advanced diploma in software development, I joined a leading school in Delhi as a computer science lecturer, where I taught classes 11th and 12th for 8 years. Therefore, I would rather say that I too belong to teachers' fraternity. And as they say, once a teacher, always a teacher. So that hasn't left me, definitely. The first book that I wrote was 25 years back, and it was titled ABC of Computers. It's out of print now. And during my teaching time, I was also delegated to develop workbooks on IT for NCERT. And post that stint, I wrote a set of books on advanced C++ programming for ITT University of Indianapolis. And my association with Good Luck actually started 13 years ago when we did our first project together. And after that, there was no looking back. I wrote more than 120 textbooks and general books for various publishers. Then in 2008, I established Excalibur Solutions and took a dive into entrepreneurship. Currently, I have collaborated with edTechs to develop storyboards for AR/VR educational experiences. I am also developing content for LMS systems for UAE, UK, and US based companies. So my thirst for learning and writing continues. That's about myself. At this point, I would like to take a small poll before getting into the core of the webinar. The poll will help us know you better. I'm sure most of you will be able to access another tab or window. If you can just type, can we mute all, please? Yeah, if we can just type menti.com and enter this code 29901154 there and answer 2 questions. Are we able to do that? I'll repeat myself. Please log on to menti.com and key in the code 29901154. Okay. Let me see if I can have an access to this. All right. Do you wish to introduce AI in your school? 75% say yes, 25% say they have already introduced, which is very good. We go to the next question. Rank these languages according to your knowledge. So can we have votes for these two, please? And this two, please. All right. C++ is familiar to most of you. Okay, many of you don't know any of these languages, which is perfectly fine. On second place is Python. Fourth place is Java. That's good. We'll just wait for a minute or two for others also to log in, and then we see the final results. We'll just go back to the previous slide and see if there's any. Okay, cool. So there are 83% of people who wish to introduce AI in their schools, 85 now, and 15 have already introduced. Okay, let's go back to the second slide and see. Okay, C++ is still on the top. Then is Java. Next is Python. And fourth place is, they don't know any of these, which is again fine in context of AI. And last one is R. Okay, so this has given us a good enough idea about what people want these days. So I'm switching back to the presentation again, and we will continue from here. All right. So now let us begin with the first agenda of the webinar, and that is what is AI. Now, all of us, I'm sure, have little idea about AI, and needless to say, we can say that AI is changing the way we live. To get into this, AI is a specific branch of study. I wouldn't say that it's a branch of computer science. I would rather say that it is a specific branch of study that deals with training computers to do chores, duties, and errands like humans do. So what we are aspiring for is that we should have mechanical clones of ourselves. It aims at making computers think, work, and behave in the same manner as we do, as humans think, work, and do tasks. Now, when we say this, a picture forms in our mind, isn't it? A picture of a robot mimicking a human. But this is not AI. AI is not just about creating humanoids. It is also about making computerized devices that can be made to replicate human behavior through various technologies and studies. Now, these may be varied. I mean, there are n number of these. How you would, let's take an example, okay? Okay, how would you wash a very dirty and a less dirty cloth differently? Just think about it. Of course, one will require more effort, the other one will require less effort. Same way, how a washing machine should work, right? I mean, in the same, the washing machine should also ideally work in the same manner. Now, when we accomplish this, that will be AI, making the washing machine more intelligent or intelligent enough to take decisions on its own and work accordingly. At the moment, I would rather say that where we are is at the fuzzy logic stage. Can we mute all, please?
I request everyone to kindly mute their screens.
Uh, Okay, we were talking about washing machines, and I was saying that currently we are at the fuzzy logic stage where manufacturers are actually giving various options in the machines. For example, very dirty, delicate, woolen, heavy, etc. Isn't it? So you choose the option you want, and machine does it for you. However, the aim of AI is actually, as I said earlier, is to make a machine intelligent enough to select an option on its own. You don't have to choose. So the machine should select an option on its own after you dump the clothes in it. So your job will be just to dump the clothes, and it will be the job of the machine to gauge how dirty clothes are, or whether they are delicate, or whether they are rough and tough, and how much soap should go into it, whether it should be spin dried or normally dried. So that actually will be artificially intelligent machine. And when it starts thinking on its own, that will be deep learning. That is the stage when we reach deep learning. So, actually, many of you had asked if artificial intelligence is a separate subject like mathematics or physics or history or geography. I will say, well, it is not. It's not, as I said earlier also, it's not a separate subject. It includes several different subjects and is derived from various other fields. I would say that AI is a cognitive science which can be linked to various subjects that concern themselves with cognition and reasoning. And I'm sure, I mean, in all subjects, we have these two features, right? Cognition and reasoning. Almost every one of us, one of the school subjects would fall into this domain, be it mathematics or statistics or computing or physics, economics, even psychology and languages. Okay, it is therefore mandated by many educational bodies nowadays that we should start integrating all the subjects with AI for all the classes from 1 to 12. So let's learn a little more about AI. There are several domains of AI, and there are several. I mean, we can't quantify. We can't say there are 6 domains, there are 7 domains, though it is mentioned in many journals and many books, but we actually cannot quantify the domains of AI because they are ever evolving. New and new domains are cropping up every day. But still, for the sake of learning, there are a few which are huge. So these are machine learning, deep learning, fuzzy logic, natural language processing, expert systems, and of course, robotics. Let us look at machine learning. Okay. Now, when we say, whenever we talk about AI, we end up talking about machine learning. So machine learning is a subset of AI. Okay. It is a process in which machines are fed with data and instructions. So these are the, most of you know some or the other programming language, and you would know that we need to feed in data and instructions to the computers. So machine learning is nothing but feeding machines with data and instructions. Now, they might be given in any programming language. These data and instructions then continuously, I would say, develop in algorithms that they have been programmed with. The more data is fed into the machines, the more accurately they can process similar information in future, which results in sophisticated algorithms. So what happens is, when more and more data is given to the machine, it keeps evolving its algorithms, and it keeps on becoming more and more powerful. Let us take one very small example, which I thought I'll put in the presentation. just imagine or just consider that you have a digital photo album containing maybe thousands or hundreds of pictures of various animals and birds. Now, the animals and birds contained in the album are of different types, colors, and species, right? Uh, Now, suppose you have been given asked to isolate the pictures of birds from those images, right? If you use a standard computer program, you will have to write a program that tells the computer the exact characteristics of a particular type of bird. Once the computer is loaded with such a program, what it will do is it will analyze each and every picture. It will compare the mentioned characteristics with the images, each and every image in the album, and identify the picture matching the description. So this is conventional way of writing a program, how it was done in olden days. So for instance, a large bird with a blue neck, with green tail feathers and tuft of feathers on the head will essentially be a peacock, or potentially, not essentially, potentially mean a peacock. This means that a different algorithm or program will have to be created for every different picture. Now, this will be highly impractical and cumbersome technique, isn't it? I mean, writing features, I might as well sit and segregate all those myself, right? However, what happens with machine learning in artificial intelligence is a single algorithm is created such that it can separate all the images of all the types of birds present in the album. The system simply has to be fed with basic identifying features of the birds, such as the shape of the body. Birds have more streamlined body, the presence of the beaks, which are a unique feature, feathers and wings, right? Now, using this information, the system will automatically isolate the images of the birds from those of other animals, right? With time, it will identify various hidden patterns also about the features mentioned in the original algorithm. So here, what is happening? As and when more data is being entered into the machine learning model, it is evolving and it is making its algorithm more and more powerful. Such as what will happen is now there will be more differences in colors of the feathers, differences in the shapes of the beaks. Everything will be identified, and using such patterns, the system will also be able to classify the identified images into various categories, which we did not even actually want. For instance, what was initially this, what you are seeing on the screen, would later become like this. Okay, so here not only the birds are getting segregated, but also the types, all black birds in a row, all brown birds in a row, like that. So over a period of time, what will happen is the program will become more and more powerful, and it will reach a pinnacle where it will become artificially intelligent. This is how machine language works. Now, the second part of Agenda 1 is, why do we need to teach AI to our kids? Why? I mean, it's a relatively new field. Why do they need to learn AI? Is it actually essential? So this, I would rather say, is four-pronged. We'll take all these 4 points one by one. Okay, we know that future is AI powered. I mean, already last 2 years have shown how technology has entered our homes, and we know that technology, like electricity, is becoming all powerful, right? So we need to teach children that the future of AI also rests in their hands, because they'll be learning and implementing AI. So the future of AI is also in their hands, and that they must use it responsibly. So we need to raise responsible citizens, the ones who know technology and know how to use it and not just exploit it. So there are many educational platforms that teach kids how to create and train machine learning models to recognize images, sound, text, and numbers without requiring any coding skills. Not every child or human being can become a coder. And AI is not about coding only. There are many verticals to it which can be explored, which can be implemented, which can be taught and learned. Yes, the next point is solving real world problems. Now, as you saw earlier with the example of washing machine, you know that AI is all about, solving real world problems, making our life easier so that we can do other things. So now future professionals must know the challenges which the world will face and hence should be prepared for the same by being able to predict outcomes as well as solutions. We can't have a better example than today's unfortunate COVID situation here. So we have been tackling this problem for next 2 years, and we don't know how many more months or years it will go. So we must prepare our kids. Similarly, we must prepare our kids to tackle such problems and how through technology. I'm not saying that the technology is the only answer to this, but yes, it can help to tackle such situations. Then the third point is our kids should be ready for futuristic jobs. Now, if the future is going to be AI, we want our kids to know, at least have little idea about AI when they grow up, so that they can choose their own fields and then utilize this technology in their whatever fields they choose. So all of us will agree that future is AI and some knowledge of AI is essential for our kids. And last but not the least, it is inclusivity. Now, this is very dear topic of mine. I'll speak a little bit about it, and we'll see how AI can help to create an inclusive society. So the world which we live in today has become a global village. I mean, due to interconnectedness provided by the technology, all of us are the current example, for example, this webinar, we are all interconnected to each other through technology only. So all of us agree that technology has brought us closer, right? However, there are kids and adults who are fighting with learning and physical disabilities. They are highly intelligent people, but somehow, unfortunately, they have learning and physical disabilities due to which they are not able to do what they are capable of doing. So therefore, and also they are not able to interact with the world around them. This gap is and can be further crossed through AI. A very familiar example is that of Stephen Hawking, the astrophysicist who was actually against AI. He was not pro AI, but who was ironically given a voice by AI. Sadly, he passed away in 2018 before he could change his mind about AI. So, I mean, technology helped him and helped us in the sense that what he wanted to tell us, he was able to through AI, and we were able to learn from his findings. Now, going back to primary technologies like Siri and Alexa and Cortana, all of us are aware of these, and even children are nowadays because they have been handling laptops, tablets, and smartphones. Even these technologies, though they are at the very bottom of AI cycle, they are helping a lot. In fact, Microsoft in 2018 pledged $25 million rupees for, dollars, excuse me, for an AI for accessibility program which committed to helping people with disabilities only. Therefore, I'm sure all of us will agree that teaching kids about AI is the need of our. We don't want them to become experts, but at least we want them to have little idea about AI. We have to make them future ready. Now let us see how actually AI helps students. AI can help students in many ways. Children can get more personalized tutoring through AR/VR experiences. That is one way. Then they can learn at their own pace. Uh, they can relearn again and again till satisfied. Then kids with disabilities like dyslexia will have innovative ways of learning. And Thanks to artificial intelligence, students now have the ability to learn anywhere, anytime, making quality education for even for rural students and those living in small towns and villages in low income areas accessible and affordable. So I would say that technology and especially AI is helping a lot and will help a lot in future. So this was the first agenda of our webinar. Mm, let's now move on to the second agenda item, which is how to introduce AI to kids. Now, this is a big question. Um, Give me a moment. Right. Okay. Now, AI can be I'll say it can be daunting not just to the kids but to the adults too. At least it was to me when I started reading about it. I mean, I could not understand or make heads or tails of it. Once I started reading about it without even understanding anything, and I kept on reading, learning came much later. So what happened was that you read, you make children do activities till they understand the concept. No, I was going through the questions which were entered by you at the time of registration, and someone had asked a very good question, and I am phrasing it as it was. Okay, how do we teach the nuances of artificial intelligence to students even when they are not proficient with computers? Now, this is an excellent question. So, which is why I prepared an example and I'll show you an example activity. Kids love craft making, right? They are also familiar with origami, correct? Most of us would know how to make a paper boat. All of us have done this when we were small. And today also children know how to make paper boats, right? So let's teach them a concept of AI in a creative manner. Now, how to do that? Here, no prior knowledge of AI or computer science is needed. Um, I'll just speak out how we could do this, right? So first, help kids make a paper boat using an origami. Okay, then ask them to make two more similar boards with different paper sizes. So in all, you take three different paper sizes and make three boards. Okay, then let students mark them as 1, 2, and 3. Next, place number 1 in a tub of water and ask the child to predict how many coins it will hold before it sinks to the bottom. Ask them, and after they make the prediction, ask them to start adding coins. So were they able to predict correctly? Just keep a note of all these points. Then let kids do this for all the three boards and record the data in a table as shown on the screen. Now ask kids to predict result for a board which would be made with an even bigger size of paper. Now this will be board 4 and which will not be actually made. Don't let them create that board. Just ask them, if this is the size of the paper, then how many coins do you think it will hold? Let them predict. Tell them not to make it, just predict after studying data in the table. Were their prediction near the mark? Were they able to predict correctly? Tell your students what they just did was data analysis in artificial intelligence. The science of such processes of collecting and analyzing data to make predictions is called data science. So this is one of the numerous example activities which are available and which could help kids learn concepts of AI and analysis. Also, apart from such activities, there are a lot of many non-intimidating ways of introducing AI to kids which are available on the internet. And these are excellent resources. I'll talk about a few of them. First one is experiments with Google. So Google had introduced more than, I think, 1,500 projects to choose from. Some of the more interesting ones are AR insects in Google search, then creating your own art coloring book, creating shared piano, then customizing Google Assistants for storytelling, and many more such. I mean, I think there are more than 1,500 now. Second one is familiar to all of us, of course. It is the Scratch programming language. We've been teaching this language to our students since many years now. And you'll be amazed to know that Scratch has over 40 million projects submitted by users from 150 countries. It's astronomical, it's huge. Some of the popular AI projects on this website include AI Chatbot, AI Tank Battle, AI Tic-Tac-Toe, and many more. So you can explore all these with your kids and have a fun time while learning. Third is Machine Learning for Kids by IBM. It is again free. It's a web-based tool to introduce kids to machine learning systems and applications of AI in the real world. It provides hand-on experiments to train machine learning systems that recognize not just text, images, sounds, but also numbers. It leverages platforms such as Scratch and App Inventor, again, which is familiar to most of the students these days. Cognimates is another site where children can learn how to build games, robots, and train their own AI models. Like machine learning for kids, Cognimates is also Scratch-based. And then lastly, there's Google's AIY. AIY is a physical kit, and I don't think it's available in India as of now, but then it is being considered as a very good kit to teach AI to kids. Let me show you many of you would be familiar with the Google experiments and Microsoft AI experiments. Let me just show you two of these experiments and how they work. Okay, the first one is Quick Draw, in which uses a neural network which has actually learned to recognize doodling. So if someone draws something, it tries to gauge what the end result will be. It urges you to draw an object and then predicts it while you draw it. In this process, it adds to your drawings to the world's largest doodling data set. So what is happening is, when you are working on it, your doodle is actually becoming a part of AI project, okay, which is shared publicly to help with machine learning and research. So it is all open source now. I mean, whatever development is happening, it is for everyone to access, everyone to learn from. I made a short video of its working. Let me play it for you.
I see line. Or bread. Or pond. I see flying saucer. Oh, I know, it's bucket. I see rainbow. Or boomerang. Or helmet. Oh, I know, it's teapot.
So that was Quick Draw. Hope you enjoyed it. Next is Semantris. Now, Semantris is a word association game that is again powered by AI. When you enter a word or a phrase in this, the game ranks all of the words on the screen, scoring them based on how well they respond to what you typed. Okay, so words will keep falling and you will keep typing and it will keep joining the words. It's pure fun. However, it can later be used to explain the concepts of classification and clustering to kids. Let me again play a video for you. Please bear with me. So that was a video on Semantris. I fast forwarded a little. I realized that it was more than 2 minutes, but that's how I scored, which was a very average score. But I'm getting better at it now. So let me, continuing with more fun aids, let me mention a few more. There's this Botsify, which helps teachers by creating chatbots for students or along with the students. Users can interact with the chatbot in this particular app. And then who wouldn't enjoy creating their own avatars? Many of you would be doing it in your smartphones also. So one such tool is My Talking Avatar. AI is at the back end of it. Then there's very popular Akinator, which is available on Google Play and iOS. This is a genius actually, who tries to guess the real or the fictional characters you are thinking about. It is pure fun while learning about data sets. I mean, you can have fun and you can keep on learning about data sets. Then AI apps provide students with opportunities to have additional practice and learning. There are apps like Odyssey for geography, Splash Math for math, Noji for vocabulary, and many more. So actually, there are numerous apps that support AI and are out there for us to explore and teach kids. So basically, I will say that teaching AI to kids is more fun than any other subject, because one, there is no particular one way of teaching AI to kids. You can chart your own ways, you can use your own apps, you can pick and choose, and whichever way you are comfortable with, you can teach AI. So that was the second agenda of our webinar. Now let's move on to our third agenda item, which is an ideal AI curriculum that could be developed for kids. So actually, AI is vast. And to begin with, what we can do is, if we are introducing AI to kids, this is how it should be done, according to me. Of course, all of us can devise our own methods, but I think an ideal AI curriculum should focus on introducing, first of all, fundamentals of computers, not how they work, what is inside them, what was in the past. No, there's no need to all those things. Teach them how to type on a computer, how to do calculations on the computer, how to make presentations on the computers, not what is inside the computer system, what is a circuit, what is, all those things are not required these days. Then we have, teach them about various latest technologies related to computers. What has happened in the past remains in the past. Then introduce artificial intelligence. Gradually introduce AI as a theoretical concept to the students, and then introduce activities. Then help young learners understand the world of artificial intelligence through games, activities, etc. Make them realize that they have AI around them when they are using Google Maps, when they are talking to Siri, when they are using Cortana for search. Make them aware of their surroundings where they are unconsciously using AI. Then introduce learners to various domains of AI. Start with the three main ones and then gradually move to the other ones. Then encourage inquiry-based learning all over. Not then, actually, it should be started from the beginning itself. Begin with inquiry-based learning, which is what we are doing these days. I mean, we also do this. What is inquiry-based learning? Basically, it is learning by questioning. Let them ask questions. Ask questions to them so that they learn on their own. They find answers within themselves. Finally, introduce them to the programming skills through Scratch, Python Turtle, and Python. So I think an ideal AI curriculum should have all these methodologies, or we can say all these ways of teaching kids. Now, what should be the learning outcomes of an AI curriculum? Children should be able to identify and use AI applications in daily life. They should be able to relate and apply and reflect on human-machine interactions and moving towards acquired AI readiness skills. Now, what we mean by AI readiness skills is, communication skills, green skills, entrepreneurial skills. All these skills are AI readiness. So as I said earlier, AI is not just about technologies. It is not only about coding. It is about everything. Then let children imagine, examine, and reflect on all these new skills. Help them unleash their imagination towards smart homes and smart workplaces. How our homes are actually smart these days when we are using latest washing machines, latest microwave ovens, dishwashers, how we are already living in smart homes. Make them aware of their surroundings. Then teach them how to become responsible citizens by understanding the impact of AI on our environment. So see, there are plus points and there are minus points of everything. Teach them that they have to work towards pluses and not the minuses. Research and develop awareness of skills which are required for jobs of the future. So make them future ready, as I said earlier. Also make them aware about AI biases and AI ethics. Now, there was a big question mark on why Alexa is a female voice only, not a male voice. So all these things, all these kinds of questions should be addressed to. They should be able to raise such questions. Then develop effective communication and collaborative work skills. Today's world is all about team building and collaborative work. So they need to learn how to work in teams, how to produce collaborative work, and how to move ahead. Keeping all these things in mind, we developed a book series which is simply titled Artificial Intelligence for classes 1 to 8. Let us look at some of the features of the series. It will be quick and I'll just skim through these. So the initial pages list the features of the books in a spread. So these two pages tell you how to use these features actually. Then we have tried to include engaging content placed in attractive layouts in the books. Our IoT section, which is the Internet of Things section, talks about an AI device, whereas the second one is, the Trailblazers section narrates the story of an eminent personality who has contributed a lot in the field of technologies. And then there's this Meet section, which introduces a fictional character. This is not an actual character, it's a fictional character, which represents a profession in the field of AI and computer science. Then, of course, I mean, we know and we have been teaching this to our kids also, that a picture represents 1,000 words, or a mind map is a powerful learning tool. We all are familiar with these things, right? So we have included loads of infographics in our books, I mean, so that children can learn through images as much as possible. Then wherever possible, we have included interesting tidbits of information from the past as well as the present. So there's this bite from history, which lists something unique from the history, and there's this cool fact, which displays some unique fact. Then we have kept in consideration the computer ethics and skills. Wherever possible, we have also included a direct connect between the context and the AI. For example, how AI is being used in drafting emails these days, how automatic text appears, or how AI helps in Google search when kids start typing, automatically a list of words or phrases appear. So we need to make them aware that all these are connected to AI. So these sections, AI Connect helps them do so. Then, of course, life skill is an essential part of the book. And then we have core AI-based features like AI experiments to explore, which is nothing but explanations about chosen Microsoft AI experiments and Google AI experiments. A peep into the future talks about evolving technologies and how new things might come in future. And Fun with AI is pure inquiry. It's pure activity which promotes inquiry-based learning. And then, of course, we cannot forget our traditional features like summary and glossary, which are excellent tools for reinforced learning. I mean, you teach child a chapter and then ask them to go through summary and glossary. Sometimes they remember more from summary and glossary. And last but not the least, we have given a huge variety of exercises, again, for reinforced learning. So that's about it. Now, before passing the baton to Niharika again, I would leave you with some teachers' resources. For Python, you can refer to python.org. For experiments to Google, you can go to the link mentioned. Sometimes we may not have Python in our machines. In those cases, you can go to online compilers. So you need not download Python to your machine. You can just directly go to these websites, write your code and see the output. So there are two of these. And then I would highly recommend a book called titled Introduction to Artificial Intelligence by Philip C. Jackson. It's an excellent book. I would suggest that all of you read it. And I hope that you enjoyed the session. I wish you all a very happy and healthy new year. Please do remain connected. Bye-bye.
Hi, Chandrika.
I
Thank you for the really informative session. There's one query from one of our participants, BK Deepa. She has asked that, ma'am, due to technical issue, I was not clear with drawing with AI. Please tell me again about it. So would you mind addressing this question?
Okay. Do you want me to play the slide again?
It's up to you how you want to explain it to Miss BK Deepa.
Okay, I will. Okay, I'll have to start presenting again. 1 second. Okay, I'll just go to the. I hope this is the one which she is talking about. So this is the Quick Draw app. I'm playing it for her so that she can see it again.
I see line. Or bread. Or pond. I see flying saucer. Oh, I know, it's bucket. I see rainbow. Or boomerang. Or helmet. Oh, I know, it's teapot.
So I hope Miss Deepa, is it clear? There's one more.
So I would like to mention here that this particular app actually it is focusing on the three main parts of AI. It's like the data sets and the algorithms and the machine learning part. So what it does is when you doodle, it adds to the data set, to the central data set and feeds in the data so that algorithm can keep on evolving. That's how AI works actually. So that a prediction can be made finally. So these are the ways and the apps through which you can learn and teach AI and its concepts.
Yeah.
And these are fun to work with. Yeah.
So I open the floor to the participants now. I request, in case you have any queries, any questions, you can ask, unmute yourself and ask. Also, you can write your queries in the chat box. In case the explanation is detailed, you can join our Google group and also the WhatsApp group. So I request you all to kindly write down your numbers on the chat box, so we can add you to our WhatsApp group, wherein we can solve your queries or concerns and we can guide you for future. One is WhatsApp group. Second is the Google group. I'll be sending invites to you all for the Google group. And third, you can ask your queries here. I request you to unmute yourself and you can ask your queries. Thank you, Mahalakshmi ma'am. I got your number. Thank you, Vivek Dubey ji. Thank you, Abhilasha. Thank you, Manoj. I request you all to kindly give us your number so we can add you in the WhatsApp group. Also, I'll be sending you invites for the Google group, which is named as Artificial Intelligence Zone, wherein we'll be posting our updates. We also have a page, I would like to inform you, which is named as Artificial Intelligence page. So I'll just give you that link also. In the meantime, you can keep sharing your phone numbers. This is the page, Artificial Intelligence Zone. We'll be posting regular updates on this page regarding artificial intelligence. So you can keep, you'll be apprised of all new happenings in this field. In case you have any queries, you can unmute yourself and ask. I'm posting the address of the page here, so you can all join us through WhatsApp, through our Facebook page too. This is the address of our Facebook page. Please note it down and you can join it. Chandrika ma'am, can we close?
Yeah, I think we can close. Thank you so very much for joining me in this webinar. Have a wonderful year ahead. Happy New Year again. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Before leaving, I request you all to please leave your number with us so we can just create a WhatsApp group and keep updating you regarding developments in the field of artificial intelligence.